Market.
Ok, cuando tu papi estaba chico, que tenía la edad de 9 años, tus abuelitos lo mandaron en un burro a cortar frijol a las 4 de la mañana. Y ese burro era muy bruto. Entonces lo tumbó y se cayó en un alambrado y se alambró una pierna. Y la cortada fue de 3 pulgadas.
¿De veras?
What does my name too?
Hey, rolling.
Market. Action.
When my dad was 9 years old, his mother and father sent him to pick beans at 4 o'clock in the morning. They sent him on a scary cat donkey. There's a place where they go onto a trail, and on that trail there's a place where they stop. And then the donkey got scared and jumped, and my dad fell off onto a fence and cut himself, and it was a 3-inch cut, and then he cried.
A new dimension has been added to the Jackson ESD Migrant Education Summer School program. This year, with the help of the Arts Council of Southern Oregon, 4 artists in residence are working with students and teachers in creative writing, video, visual arts, and theater.
Okay, if you have a problem that looks like this.
For 12 years, this important summer program has concentrated on improving skills in oral language, reading, and math. This summer, with the integration of the arts, the children's educational experience has been more exciting and complete. It has given the children of migrant workers moving into the Rock Valley the chance to see themselves, to learn about their culture and history, and to discover and integrate the arts into their learning process. Starting point of the process was for the 4th and 6th graders to collect oral stories from their families. The children's stories and feelings were then the inspirations for their visual art and performance work. It was a collaborative process, weaving many art forms together with teaching English as a second language. Award-winning author Sandra Schofield.
It's been really satisfying to work with the older kids in writing oral histories. We did this because we wanted them to learn about themselves and to write something that meant something to them. And some of the kids told familiar stories, but for most of them it was a chance to learn something they hadn't known before. And it fits right in with a really important principle in teaching writing, which is that, at least at the beginning stage, writing is speech written down. And we've tried different forms, poems and prose, which really consists mostly of sentences, with a chance to read to one another, to use each other as resources, which in this setting is very natural because you have kids translating for other kids, you have kids reading to each other, and sometimes working as partners or collaborators. But ideally, I think when we're working with kids who are trying to grow in their language development, the process is especially good for them if it's a lot slower, gives them a chance to think through ideas, write them down, get feedback from one another, from teachers, whatever, so that it's brought up to the best that they can do, and by that point it's really better than what they were able to do spontaneously, but they still own it, it's still theirs, and they see what their language can move toward. So you're always trying to tug the kids toward something a little better than what they do by themselves. That's why you need a teacher. At the same time that you're saying, that's a great idea, you know, that's very interesting.
This story is about my father. My father have 18 years old, go to the mountain and found one snake. My father said, "I'm killed the snake," and threw one rock in the head. But the snake did not die, and he go with my father, and the snake his bite in the foot to my father, and family for my father called the doctor, and the doctor gave it to my father medicine and eaten and passed weeks, and my father is well and never found more snakes.
Cuando mi papá tenía 15 años le picó un alacrán y se andaba muriendo, pero le dieron una medicina que se llamaba atole de esquite y se alivió. happened to my mom when she was 6 years old. My mom it was a Friday afternoon, and my mom came out of school. My grandma told my mom and my aunt to go to feed the pigs. But my mom was afraid to open the pig store because they were afraid the pigs might come out. But my mom climbed on the fence. Then my mom fell off and broke her arm and told her sister, "My hand is broken, my hand is broken." So her sister started looking for something. Then her sister started looking for something. My mom said, what are you looking for? She goes, "I'm looking for your broken hand." Then my mom says, "Why are you crying?" She goes, "'Cause the pigs ate your hand."
Projects that the artists brought to this summer school program were projects that all of the kids could participate in. And with the oral histories, which we started with, the writing project, all of the children were able to go home. It was a topic that everyone could go home and find out something from their parents or from some family member, and they could bring that back and write about it in school. So it wasn't, nobody was left out. Everybody had a frame of reference that they could pull a story from, and then they were included in the project.
Her sister started looking for something. My mom said, what are you looking for? She goes, "I'm looking for your broken hand." Then my mom says, "Why are you crying?" She goes, "'Cause the pigs ate your hand."
Good story. That was great.
Here we are at Migrant Education Jefferson Elementary School. Here beside me is Howard, the video man. What do you think of this year, the videos?
I think it's been excellent. I've had a great time doing it, and I think the kids have learned a lot about video, and not only video, but about making a video, working the equipment. Maybe a little bit they've become interested in getting a career in video. We've also put together some excellent programs. The 4th to 6th graders put together a program of their oral histories in which they got practice both learning, talking to their parents or grandparents or brothers and sisters and learning stories about their history and their culture. They got to write those stories down, then they got to memorize those stories, then they got to say those stories in front of a television camera, and they've repeated it, and they've really gotten good at both learning. It's been helpful in learning English. It's been helpful in learning video. They've all got a chance to film each other and do the different positions like sound and camera and directing on video. They also got a chance to edit all of those programs together. So 4th to 6th graders, they really got a chance to see what video was all about. At the same time, a group of high school students, including yourself, Lorena and Efren and Greg and Jordan, worked with me to make a documentary program about the whole program, not only the kids making a video program, but kids doing everything else in the school. And we combined it with the different artists. And I'm hoping, and I've really, working with the high school students, they've become really good at making video programs. In fact, they're operating the camera now. They do most of the camera work, the sound work. They're going to be doing a lot of the editing work, and they're going to be finishing a professional program by the end of this session. So I think it's been a real worthwhile program for the kids as well as for myself, and I think it's something that we should continue to do. What do you think?
Well, I think it's pretty good. It's been fun working with you and working with other kids, some kids I didn't know. I think it'll come out pretty successful and go through all over the United States.
Great.
Action!
Cut.
I'm not sure if any of them will become video artists like yourself, but they're certainly aware, and they were expressing to me today that they now know how commercials are made, and they were impressed with the editing and seeing the studio and those kinds of things. So I certainly think we've heightened their awareness.
On this ranch, there was a pretty lady. She was falling in love with the pilot. One day, the pilot was flying to the ranch. While everyone was out talking in the square and playing baseball, all of a sudden they heard the engines of a plane. Everyone spooked and they went to hide. After everyone came out, they were mad at the pilot because he scared them. After they all crowded around the plane and asked many questions, all the pilot wanted to do was to see his fiancée.
When we were coming to Oregon, all my family in Mexico was sad because we were leaving. I started to cry. Then we left Tuesday morning, and we got there in one day. Then we spent the night at my brother's in Los Angeles for one night. In the morning, we left to Oregon. First, when we came, we had to live with my aunt. Then we moved to our own house. I didn't know any English, nothing, not even a word. I went to school, but I started to cry and cry. 1 month after, I knew English very well.
Well, I see summer school as the greatest thing for these kids. I think that 5 weeks of summer school is probably the most valuable thing that we, as a program, provide these kids. These kids will all go back to their regular schools in 4 school districts in Jackson County. And so they'll be spread out probably in about 20, well, more than that. It'll be in about 32 schools, I think, something like that. So there won't be 192 of them all together in one place. They'll now be spread out all over Jackson County. So you were asking about self-esteem and self-confidence, and I think it's a great self-confidence and self-esteem booster to have these kids all together for a certain amount of time. Even though it's short, it's valuable for them to be together and see that there are other children like them in Jackson County. And so when they go back and they are the only child in their classroom who doesn't speak English, they can know that, in fact, there are other kids just like them around and other kids going through the same kinds of, the same process that they are in learning a second language.
Eligibility for the summer program revolves around the kind of work that the students' parents do. The students have to have come into the area within the past 6 years with their parents or guardians. The parents or guardians need to have been looking for work in agricultural fields. In this area, of course, most families come for the first time to work in some facet of the pear industry. They are here at summer school this summer for a good time. They're here also to work on skills that perhaps need some upgrading from the regular school year. And we work with kids in grades preschool through the 6th grade in the summer program. That's 185 students from ages 4 through age 12. We don't have an actual secondary program in operation, but we do have secondary students who have been in the program in the past who come back to us in the summertime and lend a hand in the classrooms. We find them to be excellent role models for the younger students, and the teenagers have a good time as well.
Well, each year the Migrant Education Program staff comes up with a theme for the summer school, and this year they picked Treasures of My Culture, perhaps to reflect the stories that the children were going to gather of their family, their history, their culture, which they then brought back to the summer school and expressed through many different art forms, written and oral language, drama, visual arts, painting, and through the eye of the video camera. We brought artists in to work with teachers, to share their art forms with the teachers, and to teach the teachers how they could use these different art forms, whether it be painting or drama, how they could incorporate them into their classroom, whether it be a special project, doing a watercolor painting, or using an aspect of the arts to teach other curriculum.
This summer school has been quite different from the summer schools that we have had in the past. And the common thread that has run through these 5 weeks of summer school has been the arts. And it has given the opportunity to my students to really see how they can work as part of a team, working in their own production and working on their own products like watercolors or writing or performance for La Fiesta. And for my part, I have been able to integrate some of the works that we have been doing in music, for instance, to make it as a springboard for my language instruction in my classroom. And everything has worked out as a whole.
In planning the arts components of the summer school, one goal was to use the arts to teach English as a second language. However, learning happens and ideas can be expressed through means other than language, and all the arts are a basic part of a quality education. Irene Farrera came to sing and teach songs in each classroom and provided music for La Fiesta. Watercolorist Linda Budakov worked with all the students on several different art projects: watercolors, large tempera banners, t-shirts, and the mural project, whose theme stems from the oral histories that were collected. The mural is portable and will be displayed at different schools, galleries, and other settings throughout the year.
This is the mural we did with the 4th through 6th grade students. There were about 35 kids that worked on the mural. The first thing it's related to the oral histories that they did with Sandra. And first we met a couple times and we talked about their stories. And then they did drawings telling about relating to the stories, and then we transferred those drawings to the mural. And all the kids worked on the mural at various times. We had maybe 4 kids to about 6, 8 kids in here at a time working on the mural. First we painted the background, selected our colors, then we drew some of the items on the houses, the animals, the water, the boats, and so forth. And in working with the mural, we talk about the design elements, and we also talk about the colors and how it's going to read from a distance. Putting light colors next to dark colors, bright colors next to pastel colors, gives it a lot of zip and dimension. With the mural, one of the most important aspects is it's a group project, and all the kids are sharing. It's their project together. And maybe someone drew a certain horse or a burro, and someone else may come in and paint the background on it. Someone else may come in and decorate the blanket. And it's just sharing ideas and sharing to make the mural work, and everybody contributes in different areas. Another project that I did with the kids was t-shirts. Every child in the program painted a t-shirt, and I did the lettering on the t-shirt for their name, and then the kids worked on the t-shirt with some assistants, and also all the teachers made t-shirts and all the helpers. It was quite a large project, and we hope to wear them for the fiesta. And I think that was a fun project that the kids will be able to take home with them, and also learn another aspect of art, wearable art. And I think there isn't enough art in the schools and in the kids' life, and it's really special to be able to come and share different things that I do with the kids, and hopefully leave them feeling good about themselves and their abilities. Like, wow, I can do this, and I'm a special person, and I can go out and do anything I want. And I think that's the real message with this program.
El Señor Escalante se merece nuestro agradecimiento. He helped us believe in ourselves and to succeed no matter what. Él nos ayudó a nosotros en nuestro mismo y tener éxito a pesar de todo. Now we know that nothing can stand in our way. Ahora sabemos que nada se nos puede atravesar y detenernos en nuestro camino.
Belief in one's ability and the power of education are themes that have run throughout this summer school. These were evidenced most vividly by the students taking history in their own stories, performing in front of an audience to share and to teach what they had learned. Actor-director Bobby Keeter.
The fact that it's a Reader's Theater program that I'm responsible for, my part of this is the theater portion, of course. We've done a lot of working with diction, and we've done a lot of working with meaning and so forth. And so in terms of English as a second language, theater really is a good vehicle for that. One of the things that has been most enjoyable is the oral history project, and both the video and the writing and the art, actually all 3 of those other arms of this project have been active in working on making the cultural heritage of the students here come alive through art and literature. And we have 3 of the stories that came out of the oral history projects we have in our Reader's Theater program. It's an amazing thing. Well, just seeing the kids working with a video camera, seeing kids working with this kind of sound equipment, learning to speak into a microphone, seeing kids working on a project the size of this mural so that their work, when they see it finished, is a beautiful, beautiful piece of work. And their own writing their own stories, having the opportunity to do that, and working with a person of the caliber of Sandra Schofield in order to accomplish that. I think that the kids have done, as far as with the artists, and then with the teachers who have been in the regular classroom in a situation, I think they've had a lot of special things to do this summer that have given them a lot of self-pride and esteem. I think these kinds of programs are important. I think these programs are what education is about, and we need to focus our energies more as educators and administrators to see that they're properly funded so that we can have the size groups that are manageable for people and more people having these kinds of experiences in their summers.
We are all getting prepared for La Fiesta. La Fiesta means a big party, and this fiesta is going to show our families what we've done during these whole 5 weeks of summer school.
Of the students now get a chance to see their children's many accomplishments over the last 5 weeks. Booklets of students writing fill the classrooms. A TV monitor is set up for viewing the video oral history programs so that parents can see their children on TV. Artwork decorates the halls and gym, and the mural serves as the backdrop for the Reader's Theater production. This performance interweaves songs, folk tales, student writing, and history, all held together by 5 of the children playing students who have to write a report on treasures of my culture. They begin with history, then move to well-known Mexican Americans, and finally decide that many treasures can be found in the stories their families have told them, and that the experience that they have forged their culture's ever-changing identity.
Good evening and welcome to the Fiesta program for Summer School 1989. We have had a busy but a fun summer. Many of the activities that we have done this summer have evolved from stories about the students' families and their culture. Please sit back and enjoy some of them now as the students of the Jackson County Migrant Education program proudly present Treasures of My Culture.
My mom didn't want to open the door because she was afraid the pigs would come out. So she climbed on the fence, and since the food was too heavy, she fell off the rail. And the pigs came closer to eat the food that had spilled. My aunt started looking for something. My mom said, "What are you looking for?" My aunt said, "Your broken hand." My mom said, "Why are you crying?" She said, "Because the pigs ate your hand." My mom's name is Esperanza Gonzalez, and this happened in Mexico. You mean Rouge Valens? A coyote stuck his head out of a bush. He was asked to give his opinion. The coyote took his role very seriously. "Well," he said after a few moments of reflection, "I cannot give you my opinion until I see the scene exactly the way it was. Veo lo importante de mi decisión y por eso insisto en ver todo tal cual como estaba." The snake agreed. He let them roll the same rock over him in the same exact position as before. When the coyote felt sure that the snake could not budge from there, he told Pancho with a smile, Let's go, amigo. Everybody sing. Thank you very much for coming to our program this evening. We hope that you enjoyed it.
When I was in Mexico, my grandmother told me a story. One day she went to milk the cow, but there wasn't any milk in the cow. She thought that was strange. The next day she went again and she saw a big snake drinking all the milk. You see?
Un día mi mamá tenía que cuidar a mi tía Licha por mientras que mi abuelita salía al arroyo a lavar. Mi tía se puso a llorar porque no vio a mi abuelita. Mi mamá no tuvo paciencia y la quiso ahogar, pero llegó mi abuelita y se la quitó.
This story is about my father. My father have 18 years old, go to the mountain and found one snake. My father said, "I'm killed the snake," and threw one rock in the head. But the snake did not die. And he go with my father, and the snake is bite in the foot to my father, and family for my father called the doctor, and the doctor gave it to my father medicine and eaten and passed weeks, and my father is well and never found more snakes.
When my brother was 7, one day he was riding his bike down a hill. He hit the pedal on the ground and went flying and scraped his back on the road. It was bleeding bad. My dad saw him. He was screaming. His back was all scraped, and on his elbows you can see his bone.
and on his back you could see his ribs. We had to take him to the hospital. He couldn't wear a shirt for a while. Then he got better and better.
Story that happened to my mom when she was 6 years old. My mom it was a Friday afternoon and my mom came out of school. My grandma told my mom and my aunt to go to feed the pigs. But my mom was afraid to open the pig's door because they were afraid the pigs might come out. But my mom climbed on the fence. Then my mom fell off and broke her arm and told her sister, my hand is broken, my hand is broken. So her sister started looking for something. Then her sister started looking for something. My mom said, what are you looking for? She goes, I'm looking for your broken hand. Then my mom says, why are you crying? She goes, 'cause the pigs ate your hand.
Cuando mi papá tenía 15 años le picó un alacrán y se andaba muriendo, pero le dieron una medicina que se llamaba atole de esquite y se alivió.
When my father was a little boy, he lived in Zacatecas, Mexico, on a little ranch. He says his homework every day was really at home. He had to carry buckets of water from a little well. That was the only way to have water to drink and cook. To wash clothes, they went down to the river. My family still lives in Zacatecas, Mexico, by the river. To go to the river, you just go down some rocks, walk across the flat dirt area my dad made, and across the road. It's the river. Sometimes I take the burros to drink water. That's it.
When Mom was little, she was drinking a glass of orange juice. Her brother took a fur ball from her cat, and just as she was taking a drink, he threw it in her glass, and she hasn't liked orange juice since.
When I was a little kid, I went to Mexico, and I always went swimming in the ocean every day, and I helped my dad gather the eggs, milk the cows, and take the cows to our field. One day when I was there, I got stung by a scorpion when I was putting my shoes on. Then my dad told me to get on a donkey. I got on with my uncle, and the donkey bucked us off. He bucked me off in the rocks and bucked my uncle off in the fence, and then I came back to America.
Hi, my name is Sonia Mejia, and my story is about my mom. One day, my mom was working, and my grandpa too. My mom was bitten by a scorpion, and my grandpa gave my mother a lot of water, and finally my mother go to the doctor, and the doctor gave my mother a lot of shots to kill the poison, and the shot don't work, and the doctor need to put a shot in the eye, and then my mother feel much better.
When my mom was little, she worked a lot. Every day she would go up in the mountains and pick some garbanzos for my grandma. She would pick a bucket of them. Then she would take them back to my grandma's house, and they would peel them, then cook them, then eat them.
When we were coming to Oregon, all my family in Mexico was sad because we were leaving. I started to cry. Then we left to Tijuana, and we got there in one day. Then we spent the night at my brother's in Los Angeles for one night. In the morning, we left to Oregon. First when we came, we had to live with my aunt. Then we moved to our own house. I didn't know any English, nothing, not even a word. I went to school, but I started to cry and cry. 1 month after, I knew English very well.
Hi, my name is Raquel Garay. This story is about my mom. She lived in a ranch in Mexico. Now she lives in Oregon. When my mom was 9 years old, she and her best friend used to sneak around my grandmother's chicken house. They'll get some eggs in a little basket and went to the store. When they got to the store, they went inside the store and sell the eggs. They got the money and buy some candy. When my mom got married, she told my grandmother what she had done as a little girl, and my grandmother laughed.
Hi, my name is Ana Batista. I'm 12 years old. When my mom left me babysitting, one day my mom left me babysitting with my brothers and sisters. She left at 7:30 in the morning while I was taking a shower. When I got out of the shower, I got dressed and went outside to get the kids. I told them to come and watch cartoons. I went in my mom's room to clean it up. And when I came out to the kitchen, it was a total mess. So I told the kids to sit down and watch cartoons or I'll turn off the TV. So they sat down. I went back into my mom's room to clean it up. Finally, I got done. I heard a noise in the kitchen. When I went to the kitchen, it was a mess again. Action.
When my dad was about my age, him and his brother went to get the cattle. And, oops. And the clouds were getting black. And they were thinking of a way to hide from the storm that was coming. It was starting to rain, and my dad got an idea. They were starting to get big rocks and started building a house. After the storm was over, my dad and his brother went home. And the house that they made was torn down because it was too weak anyways. When I got to go visit the ranch where my dad was born, and the rocks were still there.
This is a story about when my father was little. When my father was little, he and his brother went to the river. But in the river, a man had thrown firecrackers. They had matches. They lit one and the fire started. My father and his brother were in the middle of the river. My father got his hands burned and his brother got his legs burned. Because my father got his hands burned, he put them in the water and he got blisters all over his hands. When they walked home frightened. When they got home, they were spanked.
One day I went to my friend's house while my mom went to the store. When I got to my friend's house, he was not home, so I went home. On the way home, I tripped on a big piece of wood and broke my thumb. My mom had to take me to a doctor. Now I am well. Hi, my name is Dina. I'm 12 years old. My mom's name is Kathy. She's from Michigan. She runs child care in our home. We live in Medford. I have 4 sisters. My dad's from Mexico and he plants trees. My mom and dad went to Portland. My mom and dad went at 3 o'clock a.m. to Portland to have an appointment with immigration. After school, I was supposed to go to Lupe's house. I was going to spend the night, but my mom got to Lupe's house before I did, so I had to go home. I don't know how they got back so fast. When my dad was 9 years old, his mother and father sent him to pick beans at 4 o'clock in the morning. They sent him on a scary cat donkey. There's a place where you had to go onto a trail, and on that trail there's a place where you had to stop. And then the donkey got scared and jumped, and my dad fell off onto a fence and cut himself, and it was a 3-inch cut, and then he cried. The end, dudes.
En alguna ocasión donde mi mamá vivía hubo una explosión. Cerca de donde ella vive hay una empresa de petróleos. Ese día la empresa de petróleos explotó. Todo era muy alarmante. Por donde quiera se oían gritos, niños perdidos, gente llorando, ambulancias y bomberos. Las camionetas y los camiones se llenaban de gente que quería salir de ahí. Hasta después que el peligro pasó, la gente regresó a sus casas y en esa ocasión hubo muchos muertos. Y mi mamá nada más lo vio, pero nada pasó.
One day in Mexico, I was riding my horse. My dad had a rope around my horse's neck. And I wanted my dad to take the rope off my horse's neck. So when he did, I made my horse run. Then another horse came behind it, and it scared my horse. When it scared my horse, my horse ran as fast as it could, and then I finally stopped it, and then I went home. That was my first time I rode my horse by myself.
Hace muchos años, cuando mi papá tenía la edad de 12 años, él trabajaba todo el día con mi abuelito, que es el papá de mi papá. Un día, cuando andaban los dos trabajando, cuando se pusieron a descansar, encerró a los caballos en un corral para que no se salieran, pero como el corral estaba muy chiquito, se salieron los caballos. Mi papá y mi abuelito corrieron a agarrarlos. Dice mi papá que cuando los agarraron, mi tío estaba muy enojado. Él agarró un garrote y le pegó hasta sacarle sangre de las piernas y le dijo que si se le volvían a ir los caballos, le iba a volver a pegar.
Hi, yo me llamo Gustavo Solorio. Yo tengo una hermana y un hermano. Vivo en México, en San Nicolás, en México, y en White City, Oregon. ¿That's fine?
Hi, me llamo Antonio Castellano. Vengo de mi rancho. Me vine para acá a los Estados Unidos a estudiar. Tengo un hermano y una hermana. Esto es lo que sucedió cuando me vine para acá. Cuando yo vine a los Estados Unidos, todos los muchachos se burlaron de mí porque no sabía inglés. Yo que le pegué a un muchacho en la nariz, y al muchacho que le pegué en la nariz le saqué sangre. Mi mamá me dijo que por qué le pegué. Le dije yo que porque estaba burlando de mí. Y ella me dijo que le fuera y le pidiera perdón. Yo fui y le dije que si me perdonaba.
Este es un recuerdo de mi abuela cuando era niña, cómo fue su vida hasta ahora. Ella fue huérfana de madre cuando tenía 2 años. Su papá se casó cuando ella tenía 4 años. Se crió con su madrastra y luego empezó a trabajar con su papá porque no quería quedarse en su casa. Luego tuvo un nuevo hermanito que lo quiso mucho y lo crió como si fuera su hijo. A los 17 años su papá murió y se quedó cuidando de su hermano menor que tenía 10 años y a su hermana menor. A los 23 años ella se casó y tuvo 7 hijos varones y 2 mujeres. Y a los 15 años de casada, mi abuelo murió, lo mataron y se quedó cuidando a sus hijos. 5 meses después se murió uno de sus hijos y un mes después también se murió uno de sus hermanos. A los 5 años después ella se volvió a casar y tuvo otro hijo que ahora tiene 20 años y ella tiene 63 años.
Había un rey, tenía 3 hijas y entonces tenía 3 princesas y cuando él les dijo que el rey les dijo que lo compararan con algo. Entonces lo compararon con el maíz y con el frijol. Entonces la más chica lo comparó con la sal y entonces la mandó a matar y los criados en vez de matarla la pusieron en un palo y se fue en un río. Y llegó donde había muchos palos y muchos patos. Entonces la princesa se escondió entre los patos y ella salía a la noche a robar comida. Entonces el rey puso a los hijos que cuidaran. Entonces puso al hijo menor a que cuidara por la noche. Entonces él se durmió y puso al más chico y también se durmió y puso al hijo mayor y él no se durmió y él lo descubrió Entonces, él se casó con ella y invitaron al rey padre de la princesa. Entonces, entonces le sirvieron comida sin sal. Entonces dijo la princesa, ¿te acuerdas cuando cuando te comparé con la sal? Entonces dice la princesa, ¿cómo me gustaría que te pasara algo igual?
My mom was little. She had 8 brothers and sisters. She had to have 2 people in her room. She had to do chores before my grandma and grandma got home, and they couldn't go to town because they didn't have enough money, and they had a big station wagon.
My grandpa lived in Texas. He was a Texan. One day he met this girl. She was an Indian princess. She and he became friends. One day she decided she wanted to get married, so my grandpa agreed to marry her. So my grandpa used to be married to an Indian princess, and I have a little bit of Indian blood in me.
Good.
When my dad was little, when my dad was 12 years old, he lived in Mexico. One day he got out of school and went to swim in this pool. He spent 4 or 5 hours at the pool. Then his dad got home and asked for his son, which is my dad. His mom said that he was swimming at the pool. So the 5 hours were up, and he wanted to go ride a wild bucking horse. So he did. He got on the horse, he grabbed on tight, they let him go, and the horse started to buck. Pretty soon the horse got tired of bucking and could not buck anymore. My dad's name is Jose Marcelino Herrera Vargas. He's tall, has hair, black hair, and fat a little bit, and wears a hat. And my dad was the fastest swimmer and the best rider in Wauhukilla, and I'm proud of my dad.
One day my grandmother told my dad, son, we're going to kill a chicken. But my dad didn't kill only one, he killed 10 of them. My grandmother got really mad that she hit my dad and said, Heriberto, I told you to kill only one, but you killed 10 of them. Because they had to eat all the chickens, they got to have a party.
When I was 4 years old, we lived in Mexico. One Christmas, my dad bought me a bike and a radio. My uncle gave me a police car with a remote control. Soon, we had 2 dogs named Captain and Pinto. Soon after, my dad bought a truck and we came to Oregon.
My grandmother was 8 years old. She lived on a ranch. That's where she was born and had friends. When she got to Oregon, she went to school for a week. Then, past a month, her uncles and aunts came, and she decided to stay in Oregon. Now,
when my dad was about 8 or 9, he lived on a ranch near Chihuahua. On this ranch, there was a pretty lady. She was falling in love with the pilot. One day, the pilot was flying to the ranch. While everyone was out talking in the square and playing baseball, all of a sudden, they heard the engines of a plane. Everyone spooked, and they went to hide. After everyone came out, they were mad at the pilot because he scared them. After they all crowded around the plane and asked many questions, all the pilot wanted to do was to see his fiancée.
You want to get interviewed?